I'd like to call the Wednesday, October 14th meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education to order at 7:04 p.m. Pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Do I have a motion? Mr. Foote, do I have a second?
Second.
Who is that? Oh, Michelle Lucian for the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 9th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Melissa Johnson, seconded by Mr. Foote. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Lucian abstains. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of September 21st, 2020, correcting the spelling of Mrs. Kremel's name. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Foote.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Kremel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Elsigar abstains.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. All right. Item number 4, superintendent's update. At this time, I'll turn the meeting over to Mrs. Turner.
Thank you. I think most of my update I was able to send to you in my weekly update on Friday, but I thought I would just review a couple of things. As you know, on Monday, the 19th, we will be going to Plan A, which is full in-person learning for K through 8. And they will be coming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, with Wednesdays across the district staying as a remote learning day, which will allow us to continue to address the needs of our remote learners and allow our teachers time to plan across the district for the Google Classrooms that the remote learners are using. And I think that's going to be very important. And our high school, as you know, will stay hybrid. Our survey results, I think I also passed along that information to you. We had about 86% of the people that responded saying they would send their children K through 8 full in person, about 14% full remote learners. Our remote learning number was about 250, and now it's down to about 208. And I believe we also have some students that were previously being homeschooled that have decided to come back to school as well. And once I have that number, I will update you on that, because I think that number is going down as well. We had quite a few parents that did not respond to the survey, and I know you won't be surprised when I tell you that the 3 principals have been reaching out to the parents who did not respond to see what they would be doing with their students, and which, you know, they always go above and beyond. We added a section of kindergarten, 1st and 3rd at Plymouth Center School because our numbers, we were trying to cap at 15 so that we could maintain social distancing. And Plymouth Center School classroom sizes, the size of the actual room, are a bit smaller than those at Fisher. So Fisher class sizes, they will be okay with their teachers. They have 3 sections of each because they are able to fit more desks. So they can have 17 or 18 and still be 3 feet apart, which is good. Plymouth Center was unable to do that in their classroom sizes in K1 and 3, so we had to create additional sections. So we were able to do that and staff them. And I was telling Walt earlier today that Becky Halloran actually reached out to every parent of a kindergartner, 1st grader, or 3rd grader that was going to be moved into a new section, because as you can imagine, that can cause some anxiety. So she actually called each of them to let them know. So I really admire that effort, and she'll also be following up with letters for them. I, of course, want to thank Jim Mazon and his custodians. They came in on Saturday for a few hours, and they reconfigured those classrooms that we needed. They moved furniture again. They're getting very good at that. And they are also, for the classrooms where we may not have enough desks, we have tables that we are, have been able to fit plexiglass shields in between students so that they are still going to be separated safely. And so they're continuing to work on that now. And when I go, I visit every school weekly, so when I do my weekly visits this week, I plan to kind of see how those classrooms are looking. But the principals have done a great job in really making those arrangements, and Jim and the custodians continue to work so hard every day to make sure that we can keep having our kids come back to school. PSATs and SATs were administered today at the high school. We have started our reorganization meetings again for the reconfiguration of Plymouth Center into a pre-K to 2 school and Fisher into 3 to 5. We met once already, just administrators, kind of reviewing where we left off last year. We kind of stopped. We had planned to continue in the summer, but this reopening stuff kind of took over, so we had to stop that. So we've picked that up again. We plan to meet again, just administrators, in the next week or so, and then we will also invite parents, teachers, board members to be part of a bigger committee to start to look at organizing the school, vision and mission, and all those kinds of things that we feel are important to us. So that is going to continue. And then I also wanted to congratulate Melissa Johnson and Melissa Kreml. They have been recognized as CABE's Certified Board Member Designation. So I think that's really great. Not many people have that designation, so you should be very proud. That means that they've attended a lot of workshops and the convention, and you've gotten 20 credits in certain areas, and I think that's really a great accomplishment. So we appreciate that, and it only helps everyone understand more about how boards work. So that's great. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
Lastly, I have Kathleen Mozak-Pezza, our Director of Curriculum Instruction, and I wanted to do an update for you on grants.
Good evening, everyone. So this is the time of year that the federal title grants usually come to us, and we have to start putting together grant applications. And then on top of it, to make it a little bit of a busier grant season this year, we also have some of the state grants that come out of the CARES Act. And so I'm just going to run through sort of where we're at this point in time with the grants, since we've got a bunch of grants that are new, that are one-year things due to the pandemic, and we're going to talk a little bit about how they're going to fit in with some of the stuff that Sherry was talking about in terms of having to expand the classes at Plymouth Center and stuff. So we have the title grant this year. Our title grant allocation is down just a little bit from last year. We're getting about 9,000 and change less than we were the previous year. However, with all the staffing changes that have happened as a result of Sherry moving into the superintendent's position and sort of the domino effect that happened to follow that, we should be okay in terms of covering the same stuff we would have covered, because now we have different people in some of those positions and the salaries kind of work out nicely. For those of you who don't know, our Title I grant covers our reading intervention folks over at Fisher and also our Dean of Students. Title II is a little bit lower this year too. It's about $5,600 less than it was last year. It covers a math intervention coach, but again, because of the kind of domino effect with Sherry's position, it's okay, because again, we have somebody who's got a slightly lower salary being paid out of that grant this year than we had last year. Title III is the grant that takes care of our ELL students. This year we got a little bit less, but it's not a very big grant. It's only about $2,600. Usually we use it for professional development or for supplies for our ELL program. Title IV this year came in actually a little bit higher. We got about $2,200 more than we got last year, and it is going to pay for some of our SEL stuff in the district in terms of supporting our ruler program, and also it's going to provide some support for our computer science and coding program. We're going to try to, assuming the grant gets approved, we're going to try to expand our computer science and coding work down into the elementary schools a little bit to kind of give the kids at the elementary school a chance to experience some of that, so that when they go into the middle school and then into the high school, they have some good foundation for computer science. We have our Smart Start grant this year, which is the same as it was last year, and it funds one of our pre-K classrooms at Plymouth Center. And then I already spoke to you about ESSERS last time. In addition to ESSERS, we now have the CRF grant, which is the Coronavirus Relief Funds. So ESSER is a 2-year grant. We have 2 years to spend the money. The coronavirus relief money has to be spent by December 30th of this year. And so the complicated thing with this grant is that we have to either spend it on stuff we have already purchased, or we have to spend it on stuff that we will buy between now and December 30th. This gets a little bit tricky because $87,000 of it was supposed to be for staffing. And as I'm sure you all know, most of our staff positions don't end on December 30th. They end on June, 10th or whatever it is. And so we are going to end up having to revise the ESSERS grant, because we are going to end up having to take the positions that were originally in the ESSERS grant and split them in half, such that half of them gets funded through the coronavirus relief money that goes till December 30th, and then the other half of it will end up in the ESSERS grant, because that carries through into the spring and into next year. So right now what we're doing is we're in the process of trying to figure out how to best balance the two of them out so that we can get the fullest use out of both pieces of money. If you remember from last month, the ESSERS grant was about $158,000. The CRF grant is about $178,000. The other $91,000 of it is supposed to be spent for things like PPE, cleaning materials, health and safety related stuff, and so again, all before December 30th. So we're trying to work with the business office and with the buildings to kind of figure out what stuff would be best put into the CRF grant and what stuff would be best put into the ESSER grant, and then we're going to revise them and kind of make sure that everything lines up and we get all of that money spent. So in terms of the positions at Plymouth Center, they're going to get split between both of them. Half of them will come out of the money that goes to December 30th, and the other half will come out of the money that goes past that. Any questions?
No, I don't have any.
No?
Very well done, thank you. You have anybody else?
That's it, thank you.
Lindsay?
Lindsay said we can, yeah.
Okay, I wanted to give you the opportunity. All right. All right. Moving right along to item number 5, then, student representatives. Are they on the line?
Okay. I have Gina, Lily, and Tyler, it looks like.
Yes.
So, did you want to start with Gina?
Would-
Okay, I'll go right down the line. Gina, if you can hear me, I'm going to unmute you. And just give me 1 second. Hopefully, Gina, you got the message to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, loud and clear.
So I'm Gina, and I'm the secretary of the Terryville High School Student Council. So I wanted to start off by talking about Election Day, and student volunteers from the THS Field Club and REREP will be working at voting locations, and they will be helping to check people in and direct traffic. And the Future Business Leaders of America and the Rotary Club will also be doing fundraising at voting locations. And I just also wanted to talk quickly about the senior class. So on September 29th, we wrapped up a popcorn fundraiser that had been previously postponed due to COVID. And right now, we are mainly focusing on class elections for the school year. They are usually done in the spring, but they were again postponed due to COVID. So the winners for our class elections this year will be announced on November 12th at noon.
Okay. Anybody have anything for Gina? Okay, thank you, Gina.
Am I on, Chris? Okay. Next will be Lily. Lily, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Lily.
All right, I'm Liliana, and I'm the Vice President of the Student Council. And I'm just going to provide an update on the sports in our school. So obviously with COVID, the circumstances have been a lot different, but our student athletes have been really cooperative and willing to work with whatever they have, and they're all really excited to play. Tonight, there's a varsity girls soccer game at home versus Gilbert, and there is also a varsity and junior varsity girls volleyball game at home versus Nonawag. On Friday, we have a cross-country meet at home versus Housatonic, and as well as a boys soccer game at home versus Nonawag. So they've been really doing their best to keep up the schedule as it normally would be. And as for spectators for our outdoor sports, we're allowing family spectators as long as they're wearing masks and they're following the distancing requirements. And then the indoor sports are still remaining spectatorless because it's too difficult to accommodate the distancing. And then if anybody else has any questions about anything going on with sports, you can visit the CIAC website and then go to our school's name.
Okay. Anybody have anything for Liliana? Thank you, Liliana. All right.
Okay, Tyler, I'm going to ask you to unmute next.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm the president of the Student Council this year. And I'm going to be talking about a couple different things that have already happened and are going to happen in the future. So over the summer and kind of the beginning of the school year, we did painted parking spots. So if you guys are in the upper lot of the high school, we hope that you see this year's seniors personalized parking spots, adding some color and art to the campus. And this year, the Student Council actually decided to waive the fee for the parking spot. So all the seniors were able to do that who drive. And in the coming years, we can't wait to see that entire senior lot full of color and to raise money for the Student Council. The suicide prevention walk this year was actually virtual. So we kind of collaborated with NHS and multiple different organizations throughout the school. And we had video submissions from student and staff who are walking and talking about showing their support for suicide prevention. And the video is being edited currently. And you guys should expect a full video coming out soon. And finally, we have something super, super exciting from the Lieutenant Governor of the state. We're actually doing 2 mock voting initiatives this year. And the first initiative is one through the Lieutenant Governor's office. And the Lieutenant Governor created opportunities for schools or school districts to participate in a mock statewide election. And Terryville High School is participating this year. And students are registering this week. And they're going to secure their electronic ballot. And it'll be available to fill out next week. And then the results will follow. And also, Mr. Nave is securing a sample ballot from the town's registrar of voters, and the student and staff will have opportunities to vote during the week of October 26th to the 30th, and the results will be announced Monday, November 2nd.
Okay, sounds great. Anything for Tyler? All right, thank you, Tyler. All right, moving along to item number 6, public comment. If you're going to call in for public comment, please state your full name and spell your last name for the record, and it's a 3-minute time limit per speaker. Mr. Trudeau, do we have any?
We do have one caller on the line. I would just ask caller, if you press *9, that will raise your hand if you wish to speak, and then I'll ask to unmute your line. And this is number ending in 9735.
Okay.
I don't see a hand, Mr. Chair. And
Okay,
that's it.
so
No, no public comment.
no public comment?
Nope.
Okay. Not hearing any, we'll move along to item number 7, unfinished business. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the Board of Education meeting dates for 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Melissa Johnson. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
By Cindy? Nope. By Michelle Lucian? Michelle Lucian for the second. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. Item number 8, new business. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Kelly Baggio to represent Terryville on the Agricultural Education Advisory Committee for a full 3-year term. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Melissa Johnson for the first. Who seconded that? Melissa Crummell for the second. Any discussion on that motion?
Is this the advisory board for Wamogo? Okay,
Yes.
just double checking, thank you.
Any further discussion on the
Are we
motion?
gonna have like reports?
We could ask, sure.
We haven't had reports from Wamogo in a few years, so it'd be nice to periodically get an update.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure you can.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay. Next item under new business, the first read of policy P4118.237 and 4218.237, 514.8. You received this in your packet. What this policy has to do with is face masks and coverings. With the new rules that we have, we need to have a policy in place, so this is the first read. Okay. Item number 9, Finance and Operations. Mrs. Turner, interim superintendent, and David Fiorio, interim school business manager. Yeah. First, I would like to say thank you for filling in when we need it, and from what we've been told, it's been great work. So
Well,
we
thank
really
you.
appreciate that.
I've had the pleasure of knowing your last 2 business managers, so it hasn't been too difficult. You got a great district here, so thank you for allowing me to come. In your packet, you have a report. It's a facilities report by location. It's a pretty hefty report. You've seen it the last 2 months. I think it's 18 pages, line item detail. I've taken the liberty to summarize that report for you, put it in some type of a format that might be a little bit easier to read, so you're not going line by line, and it makes a little bit more sense. So on the summary, and I'm going to speak on the summary sheet. Hopefully you have that in front of you. Okay. I broke it down by facilities location, and I put the adopted budget 2021 in the first column, followed by your actual expenses for September 1st and your actual expenses as of October 1st. So you can see your month-to-month expenditure changes. I've also put a summary of how much you have remaining in your adopted budget. Please note on the actual expenditures for October and September, this does include encumbrances. So we have almost $1 million of encumbered, meaning you have allocated those resources even though you haven't used them yet. So you are trending below for the first quarter, your adopted budget, which is pretty typical. The majority of teacher contracts and staffing contracts come out as the year progresses. So based on the initial impressions, you're in pretty good shape to start the year. As it was mentioned earlier, there's some additional funding coming in, one-time use funds, the ESSER and the CRF funds, a little over $300,000, which will take a little bit of a burden off of the costs within your budget for things that weren't expected, like technology, things like getting computers and webcams and all the fun stuff that we've had to kind of adapt to over the last 6 months. So we've definitely allocated some funds in that direction. Worth watching, but again, these are one-time use funds. In summary, I can bring back a report monthly, whatever is at board pleasure, to just kind of talk about where you are year to date and give you general guidance. Or I guess it was this week, we've looked at the payroll projections for the entire year. Right now, we are about $150,000 to the good. With that said, we know there's some additional hiring coming along, but there's some additional funding coming out of grants as well. So no surprises there. I think we're in pretty decent shape to start the year, and we'll go from there. Are there any questions specific to this report? Do you like the format? Any suggested changes?
I think the only thing I would want to see is what we've seen in the past is like our trend from last year to this year. We kind of see the difference.
A variance report.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Can definitely do that. And you like it broken down by facility location?
No, I mean, I love this, but just the overall, like, that, there's like, just tells you where we were, like, you know, October 1st last year to this year, it kind of gives us a percentage.
Sure.
That's kind of nice to keep track of.
So the one area, and I just don't know the answer to this right now, which is we switched accounting systems from the Sun to the Infinite Visions.
Yeah.
I'm hoping history has been loaded, but I'm not 100% sure, so that might inhibit some of our trend analysis. If not, we can definitely pull it for a year and get some baselines. But going forward, that should be a pretty simple report to make and
Great.
create for the board.
Thank you.
Great. Anyone else?
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
No, thank you. Next, I'd like to entertain a motion to transfer the amount of $85,000 from the instructional coach account to the Taraville High School mathematics account due to an error in the overfunding of the instruction coach account and an underfunding of the Taraville High School mathematics account. So this is a transfer within budget.
So moved.
Second.
By Melissa Crummell, seconded by Mr. Foote. Any
Johnson.
discussion on the motion?
Johnson.
Melissa Johnson, my apologies. Okay, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, the personnel report.
So I believe you all have a copy of the personnel report. You know, as we were just talking about adding positions and grant funding, it's been a little messy this year. We, just as every other district in the state and possibly across the country, we continue to look for substitutes, not just daily substitutes, but building substitutes, which I know Marty had talked to you about in August and then in September. We had hoped to hire 6. I believe we have 2. And so we continue to look and search for building substitutes. Some of our building substitutes have also filled in for teachers who have had to be out for maternity leave or other kinds of leave. So they've been filling in, which helps with consistency, but doesn't help with the daily sub. So we will continue to look. We are also looking for custodians. We had one of our high school custodians resign, so we are searching for a new custodian. We are also searching for a sub-custodian for someone who's out on a medical leave, and we have also, in working with David in the budget, we are going to hire another part-time custodian. We are understaffed, and it becomes more obvious now during these times when our custodians are busy all day long. Not that they weren't before, but just so many more things for them to do. So we have gotten applications for those positions, so we're excited to be able to make that hire. And we always are still looking for sub-nurses, which is almost an impossibility. But we continue those searches and continue to post. Thanks to Pat for continuing to update those postings.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right, thank you. Moving along to item number 10, it'll be our second public comment. Same rules apply. If you call in, please state your name and spell your last name and your address for the record, please. And it is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Mr. Trudeau, do we have any public comment?
Okay, if anyone wishes to make public comment, please press *9 on your phones. That'll raise your hand, and then I'll ask you to unmute. I see none, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Hearing no public comment, we'll move along to item number 11, board liaison reports. I'll start with Harry S. Fisher Elementary School. Their PTA meeting was last night. They have the Charleston Wrap fundraiser, which started yesterday and ends on November 4th. It's all online. They also donated over $1,000 worth of books to teachers. They used the money they earned at the Scholastic Book Fair last year, so that's a good thing. And their next meeting will be November 10th at 7 p.m. Mr. Elsigar, Plymouth Center?
My update, the beginning of it at least, is pretty similar to yours. Same Charleston Wrap Fall fundraiser. They extended it an extra week, and of course it has been a challenge to get people to actually go online to do it, but considering the circumstances from what they were describing in their meeting, it sounds like they actually are doing really good, again, considering the circumstances. The Fall Scholastic Book Fair, just as you mentioned, going through November 6th from October 26th, and they decided after talking that it's going to be all virtual. So they're brainstorming what type of contests, like coloring book contests and different things like that, that they could do virtually. They have a Halloween door decorating contest that is replacing Trunk or Treat, and that's running through the 28th. Fall pictures, they have their sign-up dates, and it'll be online, and there's actually going to be a specific day for remote learners to sign up, so that basically one of the days that they do take pictures is going to be all remote learners, so they can get their own day. They had a discussion about their budget, which of course they got rid of a bunch of events that they would have otherwise done if coronavirus didn't exist, canceled a bunch of things, and brainstormed a bunch about how to do different events while still attempting to keep with the quote-unquote new normal with social distancing and all that. And the principal, Rebecca Holleran, said, I think most importantly, that the kids are handling the changes very well, which is not too surprising. Kids are pretty good at changing with that sort of stuff.
Okay, great, thank you. Mrs. Florenciano.
For the middle school, our next meeting is October 27th at 7 p.m. We have set up online payment options for any fundraisers that we will be doing, and to accept new membership. And that's pretty much it for the middle school. For the Booster Club, they're looking at adjusting their senior nights to do it a little bit earlier in the season. They're doing a face mask fundraiser, and they're starting to put together their December calendar fundraiser, which is a lot of fun. They've also set up online payment options for membership and for any, if you want to purchase masks or any other fundraisers that they're going to be doing. Their next meeting is November 2nd at 6:30. And then the Terryville High School PTSA, they're doing a Chubby Chico bags fundraiser for the PTSA, the seniors.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Klossa.
I just did it.
Oh, all right. Mr. Foote.
No report.
Thank you.
No report? All right. Mrs. Kreml.
No report.
None?
All right.
Not even your achievements?
Not even my achievements. I'm not going to.
All right, congratulations. All right, item number 12, board comments. We'll start with Mrs. Johnson,
Why me?
because you're on the end.
Thanks, Greg. I don't really have anything, so.
Nothing? All right, Mr. Foote?
No comment.
No?
No, nothing to add.
Mrs.
No,
Lewis?
I guess the only thing I'll add, since I have all the kids in school, is that they've been coming home every day with no complaints about wearing masks. They haven't been complaining about the workload. I have one that's on virtual only. Her grades aren't that good, but that's her fault. So overall, from what I can get from 4 kids in 4 different schools, everything's been going pretty well. So I just want to let everyone know that.
Mrs. Kreml?
I have nothing.
Mr. Elsigar?
I'm pretty sure we all wanted to clap for Melissa and Melissa for their award, so I'll go ahead and
Yeah?
and that's it.
Okay. So, yes, I'd like to say a couple things. Congratulations to both Melissas for your hard work and your dedication. You know, it does show and it is noticed. The other thing that I'd like to say is, Sherry, you know, you came on board, and even though you probably didn't want to at first, but you've been doing an excellent job. I've been hearing nothing but great things and great positive feedback, so thank you. I want to thank all the teachers, all the school staff, from the IT to nurses, the custodians, everybody. We started with a tough year. We're opening up full time. I know that wasn't easy to put together, And it may change again in a week, we don't know, but hopefully not. But I want everybody to know that we're behind you, and you have a board that stands behind you, and thank you. All right. Item number 13, the next board meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education is on Wednesday, November 11th at 7 p.m. in the cafeteria at Taylorville High School. Next, item number 14, I'd like to entertain a motion to enter an executive session at 7:39 p.m. for the purpose of A, conducting interview of candidate for the position of school business manager for the Plymouth Public School System, inviting the candidate and Mrs. Sherry Turner, intern superintendent, and to discuss the possibility of a proposed employment contract, and to discuss a request for a leave of absence. C, to discuss the proposed contract for the Plymouth Education Association, and D, memorandum of agreement regarding transfers for the purpose of the reconfiguration of schools 2021-2022 school year. That's a lot. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Melissa Johnson, seconded by Mr. Foote. Any discussion on the motion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so moved. We are in executive session.